Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Inter, welcome back to the channel, and we've got a Charon closer look post to go over today. Full patch notes are going to be tomorrow, so be sure to subscribe to the channel. I get these news videos out as fast as I can for you guys, so I'll be covering the patch notes and everything tomorrow. But yeah, we've got one of the usual closer look posts that we get one day before we get to fully see his kit on the patch notes. There'll likely be some kit information, a lot of lore information, design, and all that kind of stuff in this post, so yeah, let's just get straight into it. Alright, so as usual, we're starting off with a little bit of lore information. This is a very highly requested character, so I'm going to go over a little bit of the lore of him and stuff. I know a lot of people enjoy his lore, being like the ferryman of souls across the river Styx and all that kind of stuff, and it will probably tie into his gameplay as well. So his title's going to be the ferryman. I think we all knew that. He was confirmed as a guardian a few days ago, so if this is news to you, then yeah, he's going to be a Greek guardian. A grim ferryman watches over the rivers and streams. Charon, dreadful in his squalor, with a massive unkempt white hair straggling from his chin, flames glow in his eyes, a dirty garment hangs knotted from his shoulders. He pulls the boat and trims the sails himself and ferries the dead in his dark skiff. Old now, but a god's old age is fresh and green. And so that was from, you know, some kind of poet or writer in the 1st century BC. You know, this shit's old, dude, but we're finally getting him in Smite, which is very cool. The Greek underworld is a labyrinthian location that plays a pivotal role in the tales of some of Smite's most beloved gods. What better way to dive back into such a thrilling and intriguing setting than alongside the one who knows all its twists and turns from Elysium to Tartarus, Charon. The ferryman is responsible for transporting souls across the 5 rivers of Hades, delivering them to their final resting place depending on their actions during their life. However, not just anyone is welcome on the badge of the damned. A payment of 1 coin will be required, which was brought with the soul to the afterlife should they have received a proper funeral. So yeah, in the real world, you know, ancient Greeks would have been buried with a coin so that they could pay the toll to the afterlife through Charon. As a child of 2 primordial deities, Charon's duty is eternal, yet he performs it without complaint. He works closely alongside the other chthonic gods to ensure order, and without him, the underworld would surely fall to chaos. Though the ever-dutiful Charon is well respected among the gods, he is not typically the star of the show, often playing a supportive role in the background of some of the most popular Greek myths, including that of Odysseus, Theseus, and many others. After the upheaval of the Season of Souls, it is only fitting that Charon must emerge from the depths of the underworld to finish what has been started. He will not stand idly by as the mortal realms are haunted by malefic spirits and ghastly ghouls. So yeah, a little bit of lore there on why he's fighting on the battleground of the gods and all that stuff. Also, very fitting that the Styx ferryman dominated the Smite Masters land right before they were going to release Charon in the Season of Souls. Rigged? Nah, probably not, but yeah, that was very cool. Nice coincidence. So the vision in Smite. Though historically Charon is often depicted as an ugly, disheveled old man, we wanted Smite's depiction to truly embody the strength and prowess of an ageless chthonic deity, and he will possess it in both his visuals and his playstyle. Additionally, from minute 1, we decided that Charon could not be the ferryman we'd imagined without his trusty boat at his side. Yeah, he's going to be on the boat at all times, which is very cool. This conclusion drove the team to come up with creative solutions to fully realize that idea, and we are thrilled with how fun it feels to sail into battle. So some core themes here. Obviously, ferryman of the underworld, Charon at his core is a being with motifs of death, water, and souls. Piecing each of these elements into place is what separates him from the likes of his fellow chthonic counterparts. Visuals, skeletal but strong. Smite's Charon is a unique combination of traditional expectations as well as an exaggerated fantastical trope. Though he is a skeleton, he visually aligns with the typical frontliner and is armored in his garb. So yeah, he's going to be a guardian, he's going to be a little bit more bulky to kind of convey in the game that he is that kind of tanky, like big boy style of play. Personality of aged wisdom. Charon is one of the eldest deities within the Greek mythos, thus he brings the experience and knowledge to the battlefield that few other gods possess. And the perspective, an unexpected savior. The ferryman arrives at the time the gods needed him most. With Maui and Anubis lost in the depths of the underworld after their defeat by Surtur's hand, Charon is the only one who can guide them to safety. So this is about all the Smite lore that's been building up in the background, basically. So a little bit on the artistic process here and a few like early design elements and things that we're going for with him. So from the get-go, we knew Smite's Charon should feel unique from other media representations, but we weren't quite sure in what way. He was always intended to be a guardian. Okay, that's interesting. So there was no point where he was ever going to be a mage or anything like that. As soon as they decided on the god roster for this year, they knew Charon was going to be the guardian. But we tried a number of different silhouettes to see how far they could stretch from that idea. From floating specters, that would have been cool actually, to boat tours. Our goals remained the same: make him creepy, make him cool, and most importantly, make him look tough. We settled on a design that pushed him into a more typical humanoid direction, but we ended up falling in love with the skeletal elements from some of the of the sketches. In traditional fantasy, skeletons are thought to be weak underlings, falling apart if a bone or two gets knocked out of place. Our challenge became making a skeleton feel like a fearsome foe, one that could withstand millennia of fierce battles. I think they did that quite well. I think his model looks really great, and yeah, even though being skeletal, he does look tough. He looks like he can take some hits, which is what you want from a Guardian, to visually convey, you know, that to the player. And they've got a few very early designs here. This is kind of what they were talking about, where they had a few where he was a little bit more like spectral in like E here, a few where he's like part of the boat in B, for example, a little bit of like a Lich King kind of vibe here, like more spectral in A, and then like some that were more bulky, some that were less bulky. So they clearly had a bunch of different designs here, and you know how they were going to integrate the boat, what kind of skeleton he was going to have, you know, not in terms of being skeletal, but the kind of like mesh of, you know, is he going to be a tough, bulky guy? Is he going to be a little more frail? That kind of stuff. And then we've got like a kind of, you know, final design that they settled on, I suppose, before they were going to make him in game. And he looks really sick, dude. That armor, he's like skeletal, but also, you know, very well armored and stuff like that, which does add to that kind of tough aesthetic that he's going to need for being a Guardian in Smite. A little bit about his weapon here as well. So his weapon was another unique obstacle. How do we make a mundane or worthy of a weapon of the gods? Firstly, we had to consider how Charon would use it in his animations and abilities. We've seen his basic attack animation already, and it looks really sick in my opinion. He kind of like smacks like the water of souls with like the back end of his staff and sends out like a wave of energy. It looks really sick. With some experimentation, we decided it would be best to make him a ranged character to really amp up the magical nature of his attacks. A strong yet graceful flick of the wrist is all it takes for our ferryman to send out a deluge of water from the river Styx beneath him and unsuspecting foes. Of course, Charon would not be the ferryman without a ferry to pilot. With such a large prop comes a number of challenges to make it feel integrated alongside the one at its helm. There were specific touches done by the modeling, animation and FX teams to make sure the ferry felt just as epic as the man. So yeah, the boat is a huge part of Charon. You know, arguably it's like half of his, you know, overall design and what he should be. And it looks really good in my opinion. I really like that he's permanently on the boat. I've seen a lot of people suggesting that he should just be normal and then only on the boat for like certain abilities, maybe his ultimate or something like that, but I personally really like that he's like permanently on the boat and it's just part of his like hitbox, part of his model permanently. I think that's really cool. And finally, we have some gameplay stuff. This is probably what a lot of you are coming for. This is what I'm coming for as well. We want to know a little bit of how Charon's going to play in-game and stuff. So, Charon is a Guardian intended to be played in support, but with some flex potential into solo. That's good. I love me some solo Guardians occasionally. You know, some bulky, slightly more damage-heavy Guardians. So, it seems like he's intended for support, but, you know, potentially can flex into solo. Maybe someone like a Cerberus kind of design or something like that. His kit features a unique combination of high control and mobility in exchange for low burst damage. Charon may choose to start an engagement or to hinder advancing foes thanks to his uniquely neutral perspective. His kit has a natural balance of effects that harm enemies alongside those that help allies, so yeah, he's going to be kind of affecting the battlefield in both kind of ways. As the ferryman, he will be able to manipulate the flow of spirits he comes across, but he will not be able to directly transport allies. So this is something people were theorizing a lot, that maybe you can directly put an ally in your boat and kind of carry them around. Seems like he's not going to be able to do that, which in a way is sad, but also I don't really know how they would work it. You know, if you could just pick up an ally and put him on the boat and take him with you, that's like taking a lot of agency away from your teammates, and also allows for a lot of trolling. You know, you can just pick someone up and take them into like the arena fountain or something. You can sort of do that already with stuff like Horus and Yamoja, but it's a lot less intimidating than that. You know, if Charon can literally just pick you up and put you on the boat and take you wherever he wants, there's going to be a lot of trolling in that, so I kind of understand why they didn't go that route. Instead, he is able to create opportunities of disruption and a field of influence that will help allies traverse the battlefield, so maybe some kind of like movement speed buffs, other kind of stuff like that. So, unique gameplay features. An ability that generates gold and an additional unique effect by collecting the ferryman's toll from the deceased. Ah, okay. So, maybe when minions die or when gods die, you can potentially maybe cast an ability on their corpse or something like that and get a unique effect. And also generates gold somehow, which for support is going to be very useful. You know, support's always the ones behind in gold. And, you know, in combination with a green starter and this, maybe you also go, can't remember the name of the item because no one actually uses it. Cannoneer's Cuirass, that's the one. Maybe you go like green starter, Cannoneer's Cuirass and this ability that can generate gold, and maybe you can actually get some substantial farm on Charon and get a little bit of a lead and maybe impact the fight that way. And just in general, you know, excluding all the support gold gain, in solo, just getting a little bit of extra farm is also going to be really nice, so it might make him a little bit more of a viable solo laner if he can generate passive gold and kind of, even if he doesn't have a lot of pressure in lane or something like that, maybe you can generate gold in the background and still keep even, or maybe even get a lead on the enemy solo laner, depending on how much gold this is going to generate. They'll have to be very careful with the balance of this. You know, gold generation in Smite historically can break the game. You know, we've seen many solo laners going green starters in the past to get the extra gold generation. We've seen Midas boots way back in Smite, like season 1 or something, where Midas boots generate a lot of gold and stuff like that. So you got to be careful with this kind of effect, but we've seen Cannoneer's Cuirass and it's not too broken, so I think it should be okay. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of gold generation we can get here. You know, what are the conditions on it? Does someone have to die? Does it have to be a god that dies? Can you do this stuff on minions? We're very interesting to see in the patch notes tomorrow. A skill shot that can explode, creating damaging trails of harrowing water. So some kind of like line or something, and then maybe on hitting a target or at max range it explodes, kind of like Discordia's one, I suppose, and maybe throws out trails of water that maybe slow enemies or something like that. So probably going to be a standard wave clear and poking ability there. A marking debuff that rewards allies for fighting alongside Charon. Interesting. So you kind of mark an enemy, and then if allies hit that enemy, maybe either Charon gets some bonuses, or the enemy takes more damage, or the allies get some kind of bonus, something like that. So you really like kind of sort of like Nemel in a way, in that with Nemel, you ult someone, and then ideally your team collapse on them, target them, get that burst kill. Maybe Charon's going to be a little bit similar, where you can debuff an enemy and it'll target them, and your team can like collapse on them, and they'll have bonus benefits fighting against that guy, or maybe even if you kill that guy, they get like a reward or something like that. That could be quite cool. An extended dash ability with different durations of crowd control depending on how accurately it is hit. So this is one we've seen, I think, in the behind the scenes video. He starts like pedaling furiously with his R and gains a bunch of extra movement speed, and a little wave appears in front of him. This seems like his standard dash ability. It's going to have different durations of crowd control depending on how accurately it is hit. That's interesting. So the wave did come out a little bit from the sides of him. So maybe if they're just hit by the wave at the side, they're slowed for less than if they're hit by the actual like bolt itself. So if you directly hit them with the bolt, maybe it slows longer, or maybe even slows more effectively and stuff like that. Could also potentially be a route, but I imagine it would be a slow based on the animation of it. And finally, a global projectile ability, probably his ultimate, that can provide allies with effects to help them charge into battle while enemies are disrupted. So yeah, this seems like his ultimate that we've seen, where he goes CC immune and charges up for like a second or so, and then fires out this giant wave that either has loads of range or has infinite range. It does say it's global here. It doesn't say semi-global, so maybe it truly is global and goes across the whole map, and just once it hits the end of the map, it expires. Or maybe it can hit terrain walls and expire or something like that, but yeah, this is definitely going to be his ultimate. Provides allies with effects to help them charge into battle, so most likely any ally that's near or on that wave gets a bunch of increased movement speed or something like that to be able to charge in, maybe even some other stats. And enemies are disrupted, it's likely a small knockback, could even be a continual knockback pushback style thing, you know, maybe similar-ish to Kuzenbol, where it repeatedly knocks you back. Maybe if you get caught in the wave, it just keeps knocking you back and back and back, and maybe in between those hits you have a little bit of a chance to jump out or something like that. But potentially the wave could just keep carrying you back, repeatedly knocking you up and knocking you back and interrupting you, while his allies have this increased movement speed, maybe even other stats to be able to charge in and follow up on like a big Charon engage ultimate. That's what it sounds like to me. But yeah, that seems really cool. So we've got a bunch of unique gameplay feature information here. With souls running amok in the land of the living, Charon has arrived to guide all the restless spirits to a peaceful afterlife. After 8 years of anticipation, the ferryman is finally here to row it down. Hell yeah, dude. Row it down, bit. Destroy those silly gods. But yeah, should be really cool. I'm pretty excited for him. This kit information looks sick, actually. This is very exciting. You know, gold generation, the ultimate seems like it could be really cool. The idea of him like having a debuff that you can like fight with your allies and they get rewarded for targeting the specific guy that the support's trying to go on is really cool for like engage. You know, you can ult in, all your allies get this movement speed, which I assume is what it will be, and then they can like run into the fight, you mark like the enemy ADC and go kill that guy, and then your whole team goes on him and kills him. Maybe they get gold rewards or something like that. Charon very associated with gold. So yeah, this is pretty sick. We'll have full patch notes tomorrow, so be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting out a video on those as soon as I can when they drop. We'll see how Charon will fully play. I'll do an ability overview on him as well and all that stuff. So yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel to catch all those news videos as they drop. I'll get them out as quickly as I can, and I will catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.